Hey, so I found this subreddit and it made me curious. I think I have a good idea of what my Ennea type could be. I think that it would probably be between 8 and 5, but I just wanted to make this because just in case there was a perspective that I didn't see, or just in case you guys have any insight onto what it could be exactly. Um, so let's go ahead and get this started. All right. How old are you? Well, I'm 19. What's my gender? Male. You know. I think that's pretty obvious since I'm using voice though. Um, Give us a general description of yourself. I mean, there's a lot to say, but it's kind of hard to put into words. A little bit hard to quantify. Um, I'm a pretty strong guy that at the end of the day has a dream, has a plan, and wants to go forward to take care of the people close to me, and to remedy the misdoings of society in a number of ways. So I guess it's a little bit about myself. Luckily, there is not a medical diagnosis that would impact my mental stability. I'm very, very happy about that. Well, my upbringing was very different depending on what age you ask. When I was younger, and I mean like below the age of 12, very harmonious, but I was very secluded, mainly with my family, right? But if you're asking more along the realms of anything onward, it was a disconnect mainly because of religious beliefs. I held different ones, and it led to a lot of turmoil, a lot of mistreatment to me, and this made me question, if I was in the wrong. And of course, eventually I figured out I wasn't just for believing these things. So I ended up basically holding true to my beliefs and trying to discern the truth for what it was, really. Um, I think that religion did play a big role in my upbringing, but not following the religion, but more so thinking about it, proving or disproving it, that type of thing. Um, and I would say now that I'm older, I doubt that I'd ever really be religious, simply because of what I experienced and the facts surrounding the issue. Well, this is where it gets a bit complicated because currently I'm a student, and right now I'm majoring in psychology with the option of dual majoring. Now, for my main goal is because I'm engaged and I want to provide, for my fiance because I plan on having a family soon, and that's been my goal ever since I was young, to graduate and get a job that would pragmatically serve me in the future, right? So, something in the armed services first, something working for the government, and then after that's taken care of, I could go ahead and go into investments or stocks, right? Which I've already created strategies for, which would serve to create like an ending to all that. Then it's pretty much whatever I want to do if I want to keep working, but I'll probably want to dedicate the majority, if not all, my time to being with my family and the people close to me. So I would probably only really work if I felt that it would be of a great benefit to society. Say I would be leading them, like in a presidential or more authoritarian rule, then sure. But besides that, that's pretty much all there is to that. Why do I like psychology? Well, I like psychology because at the end of the day, it's understanding the human mind more. And I devoted a lot of my life to understanding people and how they work. And having a study that not only gives you additional insights, but gives you definitions to things that you already know is great to see. Unfortunately, of course, there's a heavy political bias in higher education. But at the very least, the new information that it serves to give you, as long as you can weed through the bullshit, are very beneficial. Um, and so, yeah, that's pretty much why I like it. Now, if I were to spend an entire weekend by myself, it'd be a little bit of a mixed bag because I could see myself both enjoying it a lot and not really liking it a lot because there's times when I really want to be alone and times when I really want to be with people. Um, and when it comes to this, if I were to have to spend a whole weekend alone, it'd really depend on if I had anything to enrapture me in that weekend. Like if I had anything that like I was really intrigued about or really into. Like, say I was reading about a particular subject and I found that subject really pertinent to my future, really pertinent towards my understanding. Then realistically, I could probably go through the weekend fine. Say that I had a video game that I just really loved and I just really wanted to play it. I could go ahead and go through the weekend fine. Say I had a lot of coursework to do, and say that I needed to do it for to have time off for whatever reason. I say to go visit my fiance. Then sure, I could be alone. But if you're asking me outside of that, I'd probably want to hang out with my friends or my fiance at least some of the time. So I would feel a mixture of both lonely and refreshed because there's times even when I'm spending time with others that I need to be left alone. So it's kind of like a mixed bag of both. Oh, I'm very curious. I always ask a lot of questions just because I think that knowledge is power and knowledge will, unlock a lot of new routes. Do you have more ideas than you can execute? Well, I tend to execute on my ideas, right? So, basically, I'll come up with an idea, and that idea tends to be practical and tends to be something that I can use, right? Of course. But there's plenty of ideas that I can only use in a more metaphysical light in the realm of like altering my philosophy. And that's where a lot of people will be like, no, but that's not practical. But for me, it is because altering my philosophy allows me to shoot straighter, allows me to understand more, right? So on all of my ideas, it serves me at least some way, right? Mainly when it comes to altering philosophy or for the future. And there's some ideas that I just make for fun, but it's not like I have so many ideas that it becomes like a disparity where there's just so many I want to execute on, but I can't. If there are any ideas that I have, I tend to be able to execute on them. What are your curiosities about the world, people, how society works, how to rule, how leaders are like, how to lead, that type of stuff? Um, what are your ideas about people? Just copy paste the former. Is it environmental or conceptual? Both, really. It's both. Um, and can you please elaborate why it's an environmental or conceptual? Well, I mean, of course, everyone's a creature of their environment. Everyone's going to have ideas that are influenced by their environment. That's just basic human nature. So I'm gonna have ideas about how to influence it. I'm gonna have strategies as to how to change certain things. Just for me, it's more of a broader scope. I want to change society and humanity as a whole, simply due to the fact that I can go ahead and see and understand more than a lot of other people can when it comes to how the society functions within one another. And a lot of people aren't willing to do anything about it, and the system's skewed towards keeping it the way that it is, even at the expense of others. So I would say that, of course, part of it is environmental and part of it is conceptual in the terms that you can go ahead and give names and give understanding to these abstract ideas, right? And it can serve to enlighten your philosophy, enlighten your framework. And each step that you take of learning can go ahead and build on your ability to develop that philosophy and develop that those ideas even further. Um, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie and be like, yeah, I'm always pondering on like the nature of a bird. Like a bird is like in the sky, and the bird represents freedom, and freedom represents blah blah blah. You get my drift. Um, so I think the conceptualization and environmental play an equal importance for me, at least in my understanding. Oh, my dream job would be to lead the whole country, if not a good part of the world. So, yes, I would heavily enjoy taking a leadership position. Do you think you would be good at it? Oh, yeah. But of course, I always have more to learn, so I can't be like, oh, I'm going to be the best right away. I'm going to need to take a process to go and learn more even while I'm in power, right? But at the very least, I feel like I am pretty qualified for it, and I think that I have the best intentions at heart. So I think that I would be able to lead the country and lead the world in a better direction. You know, okay, what would be your leadership style be? Now, that's a very intriguing question, namely because my leadership style would heavily depend on the situation. Now, I would tend to lean away from cruelty, but I understand the place of cruelty in the terms of leadership. So I would say that I would more heavily lean towards altruism if I could, and I would look to unite the people towards a common goal. And I'd look to both um, give people the solution, and through that solution, limit the people in the terms of the influence that has been detrimental to society. I would go ahead and use the influence that I had to steer the culture of humanity towards a more favorable direction, while at the same token offering them economic solutions, and solutions to any potential conflicts they would have. And I think that would be my strength, is that I would be able to both show them what it's like for the hardships, but also show them the solution, which would be very beneficial towards me actually ruling, and then not going getting overthrown or getting reelected. Yeah, I'm pretty coordinated, mainly because when I was younger, I used to play a lot of games with my hands. Uh, Additionally, I played fighting games semi-professionally when I was younger, so like, that requires a lot of hand-eye coordination. Yeah, I'd say that I'm pretty good at it. Why do you feel, if you are not, well, I just answered that. Do you enjoy working with your hands in some form? I mean, I somewhat, yeah. I mean, I paint models and miniatures for a new hobby that I have, which is Warhammer 40K. But it's fun for me. I don't know if the game's gonna be fun for me. I hope so. Um, and I also would just make models, that type of stuff. So I work with my hands somewhat. I wouldn't say that it's pertinent, but I would say that I like it. Um, Describe your activity. Well, I just did. Am I artistic? Yes, I can be, but mainly in the realm of poetry and writing. My art tends to go ahead and pose questions towards human nature, pose questions towards events that have been happening to me, towards the nature of that event, and questioning the motivations, if they're sound or not, and how I personally feel about the topic. And my poetry tends to get pretty deep, and I don't mean to toot my own horn there, but yeah, I mean, it's my poetry. I tend to go ahead and make it, and before I kept it to myself. Before my friend was like, "Yo, you need to share this. You need to get it out there. Trust me." And I was like, "Okay." And I got a small following for it, and I really liked it. And so whenever I do feel the need to go ahead and write that poetry, it mainly deals with people, how they are, human nature, the struggles that I can face, that type of stuff that I normally wouldn't talk about too readily, because normally I don't necessarily put that out there, if you catch my drift. I mean, the past is great to learn from. The past is a lot to learn from, hence why I'm an avid reader of history. I think that a lot of people have made mistakes, and a lot of people continue to make that mistakes. And there's a saying that history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. And I want to make sure that when it comes to the bad things, history doesn't rhyme with me. The present, I've learned to enjoy it more, and it's a great time when you're spending it with good people and doing what you want to do. The future, full of possibilities. As long as you have life, you can do almost whatever you'd like, and that's what I like about it. I can forge the future into whatever I want to forge, and that's very beautiful to me. And life isn't truly over until I've decided that it's over, until life is truly run out, or I've decided just not to pursue it anymore. And of course, I'm always going to decide to pursue it. So until I'm dead, I'm going to make it a point to live life to the fullest. And that doesn't mean like I'm going to go ahead and jump off a cliff, or I'm going to go ahead and like party hardy. No, I'm going to devote my life towards actually something that's going to be productive towards society, and towards the people close to me, and to my own well being. Oh, I'm more than willing to help people, and I really like to help people, because at the end of the day, I was in a position where I needed help in the past, and nobody helped me, and I think that it's that everybody deserves at least somewhat of a chance. I think that we should help the underdog. I think that we should give people empathy and a genuine wish for well-being. I think that that's lacking in society to a large degree, and I think that more people should embody that. So I take helping people very seriously, and I want to make sure that when I do help them, I do it well. Um, if you would decide to help them, why would you do so? Well, that's why I think we need more humanity. I think that we definitely need more humanity. Yeah, considering the fact that my ideas hold a lot of weight, I definitely need logical consistency in my life. Everything to me is, pretty much connected. So, it's all logical. It's all connected in the metaphysical plane. So, it's like if I don't have that logical consistency, then I fucked up really bad somewhere. Efficiency and productivity are only as important as the task at hand deems it to be. I wouldn't say that it's a priority that I necessarily be like, oh yeah, I need to go ahead and be efficient and, productive at all times. But at the same token, I'd rather lean towards being productive overall in my life to go ahead and orientate myself towards that goal of, better society, better morality. But the efficiency of said goal doesn't necessarily matter because we're all human. We all, you know, have particular likes, dislikes. We all have particular capabilities. We all have particular needs for stress, fun, relaxation. I'm not a stickler for efficiency. I do want to be productive, don't get me wrong, but I don't really care too much about being efficient in that way. I control others, well, in a number of ways, really. I control others by pretty much being that pillar of strength, by offering them solutions that nobody else could, by being there when nobody else will, by doing a lot of things like that, right? Um, I'm pretty much the guy that everyone can lean on. I'm the guy that, tends to be reasonable, that people can go in and look to for solutions, and eventually, people tend to follow you for a while. And it's very great when that happens because a lot of people control others in a very authoritative way, which only suits themselves. For me, I do control others, but I control them to give them a choice. I control them to make them see the options and then choose based off of those options, even if they don't want to see it or if they want to see it. And I'd say that's where my control plays in. I control them based off of choice, and that choice is very important to me. I don't want to force them to follow me. In fact, if I were to force them to follow me, I'd view it as hollow if they're close to me. If it's society at large, well, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? You can only fight evil by being evil yourself. So, it is what it is. But when it comes to my personal life, it's important for me to really give that type of stern pillar of strength to give them that person that they can follow because I do give them that advice, somebody there for them, etc. Just that things that they can't get anywhere else because they know that I'm one of the only people that can offer it. Don't mean to sound vain there, and I'm sorry if I do. But yeah, that's how I control them, and I do it for their own betterment, and so I can get closer to my goal. You know, which is better society, you know, more humanity. You've already heard the spiel. Well, my learning style, if I'd have to guess, probably tactile and audio. I'm pretty good with visuals as well, but like for audiobooks, I love audiobooks, so I can already tell that the audiobooks I read is purely historical, scientific, that type of stuff, so I can learn. So I know that audio is big. Tactile I know is good because when I was in my microbiology course in uni, I was able to remember experiments very easily that I do with my hands. Visual I know is good, but it's only as good as I beat it out. I think that that's all of them, at least all that I know. If I'm forgetting any, I'm sorry. What kind of learning environments do you struggle the most with? Probably environments that don't give me room for free thought and just want me to regurgitate information. I like to critically think on the information, so that's what screwed me over when I have to just purely memorize. I mean, I can do it, but I just don't like it. Um, why do you such struggle with these learning styles? Good question. I'm just good at them. It is what it is. I just kick ass with them. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to go. I can't really tell you why I'm good with, experiments. Besides, yeah, I noticed that I'm good with experiments. You get the drift. Do you prefer classes involving memorization, logic, creativity, or your physical senses? The latter three. I like logic, creativity, and my physical senses. Namely, logic and creativity. Those are going to be two big things for me. I can do good with my physical senses, but considering my major is psychology, I'm not really going to be using my physical senses as much unless you talk about perception in the realm of body language and mannerisms. In which case, then yeah, but that's why I would say the latter three. Oh, I would rank myself among some of the best at strategizing when it comes to life. Even games, I'm very good at strategizing. It's why a lot of some of my game choice, not a lot, but some of my game choice includes like strategy games, tabletop games, etc. I'm very good at strategizing, and that leads into my life. I make it a point to orientate my life to where each checkpoint of that goal is interchangeable, to where I can switch it out at any time if need be. Right? It's very able to work with interchangeable parts, but at the end of the day, it still functions as a whole, which is what I like. Because if there's any circumstances that come forward that would stop me from, for instance, meeting one part of the goal, I won't have to restructure everything. It'll still be there, you know. And that's something that I really like, and I'm very good at strategizing. Do you easily break up projects into manageable tasks? Um, Manageable tasks, projects. I mean, depends on what you mean by it, really. I mean, I normally, like, if I have a project, say, like an essay due, I tend to just be like, all right, when's the essay due by? The essay's due by, I don't know, let's just go and say the 20th. Let's just say it's the 15th. I'll probably read for 3 days, do the essay in one day, submit it a day early, you know? So I tend to get things done in advance if I actually like the material. So, it's not necessarily something that I would really struggle with to a large degree to break up projects into manageable tasks. I think I do it pretty naturally. Or do you have a tendency to wing projects and improvise as you go? I mean, I can really do both depending on what's needed. It's not something that's like I need to strategize, but at the same time, when it comes to projects, at the very least, with life, yes, I do need to strategize, but but when it comes to like projects, it's not like I need to strategize or I need to wing it. I tend to just do a bit of both. When I'm writing the essay, I don't make an outline, I don't make a rough draft. I just write it, edit the grammar, edit any mistakes. There you go. But at the same token, I've structured it, to where yeah, I've already read, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm doing it early, blah blah blah. So it's really a mixture of both. My aspirations with life is to guide society towards a better tomorrow and to bring also true love into the world, which the latter part I've managed to do, hence, fiance, yay. Um, and I pursued the latter relentlessly for 5, 6 years, maybe, like ever since I was a young teen, you know. And I've, finally gotten that dream reality, and it's wonderful because now I can make a family, and I can, really just have a paradise on earth, really. That's what it is for me. But that was always my main aspiration. The rest is to eventually get in a position where I can lead and change things for the better, but that's going to be far off. That's going to require a lot of work. So it's more so something that would be nice, but it's not necessarily necessary. That's a bit redundant. But it's not necessary simply because I've already achieved my main dream, my life's purpose, I would say. So, now that I've achieved my life's purpose, I'm just happy that I did, and it makes me smile every day. If I fear anything, because it's hard for me to really feel that type of like fear. I mean, don't get me wrong, like my body will like shake if I ever get scared, but for me to actually feel it, it's not something that I normally feel, if you catch my drift. But if I'd have to choose a fear, I guess it would be losing my dream. Like, say if my fiance died in a car accident or died of sickness, that would crush me. That would absolutely crush me after everything I've done to make that dream reality, and finally finding it after all that work, after dating so many girls, after falling on my ass emotionally so many times, and I finally find that girl and then she die. That would crush me. That would crush me. And then I'd probably devote myself fully to the cause of improving humanity to the point where it would be I'd have nothing to lose anymore. So I'd go full send, full send. Um, what makes you uncomfortable? Um, that's hard. I mean, I'm generally a pretty calm guy, so I'm you know there's not really much, I guess you could say. I don't really know. I tend to be calm. I don't like it when people ignore rational, and I don't like it when people ignore other people's feelings. So I guess that. What do you hate? Ignorance, apathy, uh, monstrous behavior, Just people generally being pricks and not really caring that they're pricks. I don't want people to suffer as much. I don't want people to feel as much pain. And there's some people that are determined to bring that pain into the world. And I think that those are the people that I should go against. I think that people need to people need to be led in the right direction. And I think that people who are determined to lead them in the wrong direction are sad and need to be removed. Now, of course, I'm not part of the cancel culture or anything like that, but I'll do it through my own means. The highs in my life are when I'm able to spend time with the people close to me, namely my fiance and my best friends, and I'm able to enjoy the moment and actually just chill with them and have a great time. That's some of the best moments of my life where I can just relax and just have a great time and enjoy what I've built, really. And all the struggle that's gone up to this point, it's so worth it once you reach that after all that struggle. It's just so worth it to have that oasis, to have that paradise, and you just enjoy it all the more. Now for the lows in my life were definitely when I thought my dream wasn't gonna happen. When I thought that I basically got super isolated, got super critical of humanity. I thought that nobody thought like I did, nobody cared about love like I did. I was never gonna find it. Blah blah blah. You get the drift. Like I was just completely and utterly alone. And that I would always be alone romantically, and it led to me trying to escape into like fictional worlds to go and like find solace, to keep looking and keep striving, but it was difficult, really. Of course, I ended up getting out of that. But yeah, that was a low. That was definitely a low point. Became very just secluded, very bitter. All that just bad point. I mean, reality depends on how you mean it. Being in the moment's not necessarily something that's good for me. I'm not good at being in the moment, but I do care about what happens in reality. So I guess my relationship with reality would be I care about it, but I'm not necessarily good at actually being in the moment and actually, taking things as they come when it comes to just pure, yeah, that. I mean, I have confidence that I'll be able to handle it, which is why I don't stress out about it, but I prefer to have a plan, if you catch my drift. Do you daydream often? Yes, I do. And do you pay attention to what's around you? I mainly daydream. I can sometimes in conversations, somebody will be talking, and I'll be listening to them, and then I'll catch something that they say, like say, "Oh yeah, and humans are like this." I'm like, "Oh well, humans like this? Well, what about this?" And then I'll start like trailing off. Yeah, but if humans are like this, then doesn't that mean that humans are also like this? And if humans are like this, and does that also mean that humans are like this? And if humans are like that, then does that mean that humans are also like this? And I trail off until I realize, ah, shit, right? Then I'll try to get back to the conversation, read the context clues to where like I'll be caught up, or I'll just be like, "Listen, I zoned out. I'm sorry," But yeah, if you do daydream, are you aware of your surroundings while you do so? Um, yeah, I can be. It's not like I'm running into walls or anything. You know, uh, but I probably notice less than if I were to not be daydreaming. Well, if I'm in a blank room, I'm just gonna be thinking about everything I normally think of: society, humanity, people in power, people who used to be in power, how to lead, what to do, how they fell apart. Just basically, a bunch of things about how to make things, change. Uh, Additionally, I would probably be thinking about my fiance, my friends, etc. Wanting to go and see them, hang out with them, that type of stuff. That's probably what I'd be thinking about. How long do I take to make an important decision? Well, um, and I don't really take too long because I'm not a perfectionist or anything. So I'm not gonna be like, I need to make the best decision, But or I need to go ahead and make this decision because of this. Oh my god, But I'll make an important decision, in a due amount of time. Just like I'll just think about the pros and cons. I'll think about what's rational. I'll think about what's best for everybody, and then I'll just make it. No need to overthink it. You know, just do my best to fit it into my plan. Do it best to fit it into my framework. And then it is what it is. But yeah, do you change your mind once you've made it? If there's good reason to, yeah. If there's good reason to change my mind, then why not? Um, what you call it? If there's good reason for sure, I'll change my mind. How long do I take to process my emotions? I mean, I generally know how I feel about things. And my emotions are very important to me in my life. Mainly how I feel humanity should be how I feel, my values, because I can logically justify my values all that I like, but ultimately even humanity is quote unquote a preference. But I hate that type of logic simply due to the fact that it's so erroneous and it's so self-supporting, because then you have to think that preferences are a preference in and of itself, therefore invalidating it, because if a preference is a preference, then it needs itself to exist, which is bull. I do think that there's truth in that humanity does have a tendency towards bias towards your own belief, which is why I like to take myself out of my own beliefs from time to time and just take things as they are. But I'm not gonna lie, emotions are very important to me in creating the world that I'd like, creating the the well, when I say world, I'm not saying like the actual world. Trying to find a good way to explain it. My own group, my own realm, not my own realm. God, you get it. My own social group, my own yeah, my own social group, my own how do I put this? Just my own paradise, really. Yeah, just where you know a better place. Yeah, I do. Mainly with people that can't admit that they're wrong. Mainly with people that are shoehorned into their beliefs that aren't willing to change it. So I would say that I do catch myself agreeing with others to appease them, but I won't go ahead and like curtail my beliefs. I'll just go ahead and say, yeah, you're right, but then like just do the exact opposite once they're gone. And for people that are more willing to change, or if it's in an important situation, I'm willing to go ahead and take the conflict. I'm willing to go ahead and go in and actually make stuff happen. But if it's just something meaningless, I mean, there's the point of picking your battles, and you got to pick your battles well. Of course, I break the rules. Who the fuck doesn't? I mean, who the hell doesn't, at the very least, engage in some activities that go against the rules? Like, oh my god, dude. Of course. Do you think authority should be challenged? Fuck yeah. Or do you think they know better? Hell no. If you do break rules, why? I break rules because at the end of the day, uh, you know, why should I abide by them? A lot of other people don't abide by them. The people who make them don't abide by them. Why should I abide by them? If you live your life abiding by the rules, you're not gonna change anything. It's just you can't just be like, oh, because I am this way, people will change. No, they won't. Nobody gives a shit about that. Oh, if I just adhere by the rules and play to it, I'll be fine. No, nobody gives a shit if you go ahead and abide by the rules. You're just gonna go ahead and serve it. So at the end of the day, I use the rules to my advantage. Of course, I know how to play it. Yeah, I know to be like, yeah, I'm a good little boy. But at the end of the day, I'm more than willing to go ahead and just undercut it, because at the end of the day, you can't get anywhere if you don't break a few rules, and everybody has to crack a few omelets to make an egg. So it is what it is. Hopefully that was helpful to you, and I look forward to your feedback on what my Enneagram type could be. Thanks.